Hello. All right, I'm responding to two videos that I put out about the Live Air 3 Smart Autofocus motor. My first initial setup was to get the motor running and color code the lenses that I wanted to use it for this motor. So I did 20 mm, I did 35 mm, I did 50 mm, and I did 85 mm. The cine lenses are Samyang lenses, all of them. So bear in mind, those are the lenses that I used. Okay, so this is the first angle that I'm going to show you with this camera. Mind you, the camera is Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K Pro is the one that I'm using, and at the moment I've got 20mm lens on it, Samyang. And you might be wondering, going to ask yourself, what is this? That is my SSD holder. All right, so this is the SSD that I use, Samsung SSDs. I've tried other brands, but they don't hold on to the speed. And some of the brand, they tell you that the speed is fast, but most of the time you try it and it's not as they're saying. But this is a trusted brand. Samsung solid state drive is what I use, 1 TB. Reason why I do use 1 TB, I don't want to use 2 TB because 1 TB I can have it separately, and then the bigger the file, when you put so many files on it, it becomes a bit hot and also a bit slow. So 1 TB is what I normally use. So I have about 6 or 7 of them. So when it's getting full, I just have to swap it, change it, and then get on with the shoot. Okay, so this is another angle of the camera with a follow focus on it, motor on it. So this is how it looks like. Now I mounted it on the side. Previously when I was setting it up, I mounted it on the top, but it wasn't working properly the way I wanted it because it was on the top. You have to always kind of tilt up the lens or the camera a little bit before you can get the subject or object, because when it's on the top, the sensor of the motor is up, looking up, and the lens is looking down, so they're not looking at the same thing. So the LiDAR motor system is on the top looking up, so sometimes what the system is looking at is not what you want to see. So for instance, if you are shooting a person and you tilt the camera just to get the person in frame, then the LiDAR system, because it's got a sensor that is not connected to the camera, they are seeing two different things. So then you have to lift it up or tilt it up, and when you tilt it up, then it goes out of focus. And not many people are talking about this, because I like to shoot some of my things in close-up range as long as in a distance. So if you are in a distance, you're not going to have too much problem. But when you are shooting something close up with the system fixed on top of the camera, it's kind of a little bit hard. How I got to know that is I put some objects close to my lens and I can't get them in focus. I always get something that is behind the subject that I wanted it to be in focus. And also sometimes I have to tilt the camera or I have to tilt it down, and it's kind of, so I came up and I said, let me try the sideways, because I've only seen few people mounted it on the side. And when I mounted it on the side, because it's aligned with the camera sensor, what you see is what you get, what gets into focus. And the other thing is that if you know what rule of third is, when you put the subject or the object close to the side, depending on where the motor is fixed, you can see the subject in focus. And when you move it to left, because at the moment I'm facing the camera and the motor is mounted on my right hand side. So when the subject or the object is at the left hand side on a rule of third, left hand side, it's slightly out of focus because that is not where the follow focus sensor is looking at direct. But when you frame the subject or the object in the middle, everything is in focus. So this is a different angle that I'm showing you. Like I said, I'm not going to show you too many things, but it came with rod, 15mm rod, and few other things. But when I tried to use some of the accessories that came with it, it wasn't working for me, and I couldn't. It's either too low or not anywhere near where the lens gear is. So I have other accessories that I use to make it work. So I will show you in an angle close up. You can see that this is a different plate. I think it's from Tilta. When I bought Tilta Nuclear Nano or whatever that focus, it came with it. So that is what I used on my Blackmagic cage. This is the follow focus that came with it. I just put it there temporarily, but I'm not using it, okay, because I will tell you a few things about that. Now people are saying, or in their video they were showing you how you can use it to enter into manual mode and enter into autofocus mode. But this is a situation where if you want to use the manual controller, you have to set everything at home before you go on the job, because you might forget how it works. You have to press some buttons to set it up to make it work properly. So if you don't have it in your head and you are on the job and the follow focus is giving you problems or issues that you wanted to use the manual controller, you might forget how to set it up. But this is a situation that probably you've not done that and you are in a shoot and you think that, oh, the autofocus is not working the way I wanted it, so let me just mount the manual controller so I can control it. It's gonna, I don't know, if you are a magician and your brain works well, probably you know the buttons to press to make it work. But if you're not getting it to work, it's going to be a problem with that. Okay, so this is how I mounted the system. But this particular accessories that PDMovie add to it is very, very important, and they've done a good job for adding that to it, because this is the thing that allows you to tweak the motor to work properly. If you don't have it, it's going to be a problem. So this is the one that I'm talking about. It's really, really important that you have that one and don't lose it. All right, I know that I'm not we're talking about the PDMovie Live Air 3 Smart Follow Focus, but I just wanted to take this opportunity to show you something, how I record, because a lot of people are saying, oh, I don't want to use SSD because it's fragile, because it comes with cables and all the whatever noise people make about it. But this is CC Tech holder. It's a little bit big, so sometimes it's difficult to find where to mount it, but if you're able to mount it somewhere, you can get away with a lot of things. I've tried so many ways of mounting it. Sometimes when I mount it, it's okay with handheld, but when you put it on gimbal, it becomes so high that the top becomes a bit heavy. So you need to counterbalance it to make it work. But finally, I think this position where I've placed it is really good, and I use DJI gimbal, the latest one, the Pro is what I use. So this is the SSD, and then I just push it in, and I don't have to worry about space. And another thing that is good to use this one is I see a lot of people have Blackmagic cameras and they don't get the full use of the camera, because a lot of people are shooting in 12:1 compression. And I'm telling you, you can just go out with your camera and put it to 5:1 or higher, and come back and edit and push the colors. So first of all, record on the 12:1 a little bit of footage, and then record on 5:1 or higher, and come and play with the colors, and you will see the benefit of shooting a little bit higher than 12:1. So if you have this SSD card with 1 TB, because when you go to 3:1, 1 TB will give you like 30 something minutes. You don't want that, depending on what you're doing. When I'm shooting a music video or something that I know that I can, my 1 TB is enough, even though I go with a lot of the SSDs, but I will not shoot it in 12:1. I will shoot it somewhere higher than that, because you need that richness. You need that if you want to grade, if you want to put more colors, if you don't want your colors to be muddy, mushy, you have to record in a little bit higher than 12:1. All right, so let me end there, because if I want to talk about it, I will even divert the reason why I'm doing this video. So just to give you a heads up that stop shooting your videos in 12:1 compression, unless you are a joke or you're joking with it. Because if you mean business, don't talk about space. Don't talk about file size. Because if somebody is paying you and you are getting money from your camera, you need to make sure you are getting full capacity of whichever camera you are using. So this is the cable that comes from here, and then I've connected it by, I can't open the door because I've broken it. So I've put some tapes on it, just like that. Yeah, so that's why I don't want to open it and show you how it is. But basically, the CFAS, whatever it is, you slot in, so it's dummy. So the camera is seeing it as the internal media recorder. All right, folks, I think I have shown you more angles. I'm not going to tell you how to set up your autofocus motor and all the things, but this is the battery. This is the battery. There's no on and off switch. So you just have to, you can't go wrong with the battery, because if you turn it whichever way, it's kind of two batteries put together, which have positive and negative. So you can't go wrong with it. There's a small button there that if you trying to pull it out, you will say that it's difficult to pull it out, but you have to push it this way a little bit, then you pull the same way. Okay, it's very, very, very important to mount your motor either on the left side or the right side. The right side and then the left, or the left side. You get the accurate of the sensor, because this is where the sensor is. You know, so the sensor is looking this direction and your lens is also looking this direction, you know, so it's kind of a little bit sinking. Rather than you putting it on the top, when you put it on the top, it's looking at the top and your lens is looking, and your lens is the one that gets the image or object or whatever you want to see. Let's say the lens is your eyes, and this one is seeing up. So if you want to have somebody direct, like a headshot, and it's this way, the sensor is a bit too up, so you try to tilt it down, but then you loosen your frame. So it makes sense to set your motor on the side, either of the side, and the top or the bottom, it doesn't work well. Okay, so, and I have to tell you the camera that I'm using for this shoot, because this is my Blackmagic camera that I use, and I'm using Sony A7 IV, and the A7 IV, it does pretty good video. I have the Ninja V for it, but I don't remember the last time I used it for video. Mainly I use it for photography. It's really good. I like the megapixel, 33 megapixel on it. So for me, the pictures is great. Okay.